In this clip from RMDS Lab's I'm Data 2020 conference, you'll hear from Natalia Sturgill, Data Analyst at HP. She'll explain how AI, NLP, and localization play an important role in developing advanced customer support chatbots.
But you all are here to hear about chatbots. So a little bit of background. In 2017, another employee came forward with the idea of developing a customer support chatbot that would allow 24/7 access for our customers. Kind of an insane idea at the time for such a large company, but we decided to do that investment, and it's been over 3 years, and we're going strong. So it is a 24/7 chatbot. It is conversational, and the really unique thing about it is that it's not a routing bot. Most of you would probably have seen or interacted with in everyday life those chatbots where you ask a question and then it gives you the web page that's correct, or it sends you to the correct support agent. And while that is a portion of our actual chatbot, we are also a troubleshooting bot. We actually try to walk you through the steps that you need. It's also global. We have almost 10 languages and more on the way. And we try our best to localize to each area that the bot is being presented in. And we also have hundreds of topics. So we try to cover as much information as possible. For example, an example of a topic would be like there's paper stuck in my printer, or a paper jam, as we term it internally. We strive to be able to answer questions like that by walking a customer through the actual process of troubleshooting the paper jam itself, not just passing you necessarily to a document, though that does happen in some cases. We actually provide you step-by-step instructions on how to fix the paper jam, diagnose it correctly, and potentially even prevent it from happening again in the future. We also see a ton of traffic. These numbers are actually pre-COVID. We have more than doubled our volume since COVID began. So this is a data conference, and it wouldn't be a data talk without a little bit of talk about AI. And we do actually have NLU that helps to power our bot stack. So to walk you through, the base of our bot stack is it's what's termed our system of engagement, which is the canvas, the user experience. That's what you see when you interact with the bot. Underneath that, we have those topics that I defined, and then we have that NLU algorithm. So for those of you who may not be familiar with NLU, it stands for Natural Language Understanding, also can be termed as Natural Language Processing. What happens is the bot takes in either button clicks or actual typed conversation, and it attempts to match it to one of those hundreds of topics that we have in the back end. It does this through keyword search, through all sorts of different processes. It is a third-party algorithm because it's a third-party system. But that's where the AI really lives in this chatbot, to make sure that whatever a customer is saying with, maybe some slight misspellings or different wording, but we attempt to match it to one of those topics so that we can guide the customer down the correct troubleshooting path. Once that troubleshooting path is complete, the chat transcripts are sent to our data storage. We run analytics. We have APIs that sit behind there and use a little bit of the feedback from the chat transcripts themselves. And that's actually where I come into the picture. I work less on the actual stack, the primary parts of the stack. I work with the chat transcripts at the end, but I will get a little more to that later. So with COVID-19, we saw some exacerbation of challenges that we already experienced. So just keep in mind, these are more pre-COVID than post-COVID challenges, but some of them were made significantly worse by the changes that we had to account for as the situation changed. So we had to create a bunch of dialogues, a bunch of topics on the fly, and that requires sort of a test automation, a little bit of testing in the back to make sure that what we're actually presenting to the customer not only works, but is accurate. And we're dealing with a conversational interface, so things can't really be as predefined elsewhere. So we had to really help the bot along. We had to go through and we had to make sure that the mapping was correct. We had to make sure that the content was successfully localized. And then we also had to make sure that our feedback mechanisms were working correctly. Are people actually telling us if they're successfully finding their solution, or are they escalating to the contact center yet again, or are they getting so frustrated with the bot that they just leave? We want to make sure that we are able to accurately uh, view these responses so that we can actually test and reinforce our current system. But a lot of that is super duper manual. We have a lovely team of dialogue authors, software engineers, analysts like myself, who go in and actually look at the behavior of a customer and go through that testing to actually make sure, okay, did Mr. Smith, who went through this particular area of the flow, did he actually find a solution to his problem, or did our system just think so? So we had to make sure that all of those were working successfully. And that's an ongoing process. Every week we try to make some sort of positive update, and it is honestly very difficult. Um, and one of the additional things that we actually run into is that our vendors don't they don't have the same feedback mechanisms connected to ours. So our chatbot is very much internal to HP, and so we don't get the same outside of the company feedback that we would like to. So we're sort of floating in our own challenging environment that requires our own internal testing, that requires so many people to be able to actually um, augment the bot so that we can address these delivery challenges. Um, Luckily, it's um, it's a challenge, but it's not impossible. So we really hunker down and work as a team to do these session reviews to improve our calculations, and to just really keep a hands-on approach to be engaged with the customer, which is something that at least haven't seen in my exploration of other chatbots. Oftentimes, as I said before, they're routing chatbots. They're just getting people to the right place. So it's a lot more of a, check, they made it. For us, it's did the steps that we presented actually make a difference for the problem they were seeing? Did they actually go through all of the steps necessary, and did they actually fall into the final resolution step that would have truly solved their problems, or did they not make it that far? It's a really interesting data problem and an interesting delivery challenge for sure. As I said, we have a ton of skills that are needed for us to be successful in this. I had mentioned the content authors, our dialogue authors. We've had conversational designers go in and augment steps. Are people actually uh, are they actually reading things the way that we think that we're saying them? We have people who help train the bot, augment that NLU algorithm so that we are correctly mapping from someone's typed text or button click to the correct topic. Because obviously, if they're not getting to the right topic, they're not going to be solving their problem. And then there's obviously analytics. It's a huge part of how we update and maintain the bot. We also have to do localization. And I know localization is a huge challenge. For those who don't know the term or who are not familiar with it, localization is when you take the cultural the cultural situation and language, and you actually tweak what you're attempting to express in the native, and like, so for example, English, and tweak it so it's communicated in a successful, polite, conducive way for whatever language and country you're attempting to express. So we do our best to localize to the languages that we do support. Also, we're very dependent on machine learning because of that NLU. So we have to make sure that we keep that.
If you enjoyed this video, like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this. Visit grmds.org to view Natalia's full 30-minute talk, The Next Generation of Customer Support Chatbots. Through the link in the description, you can take advantage of a complimentary premium 1-month membership to access webinars, online courses, data sets, workflow collections, and much more. Visit our data science ecosystem at grmds.org.